Hey, good morning. We are on the record. This is the videographer speaking, Bob Giannini, with court reporter Julie Riley with Stream Productions. Today's date is October 17th, 2022, and the time is 9:58 a.m. We are here to take the videotape deposition of Joseph Valenti in the matter of Nero International Holding Company and Joseph Valenti versus Neurotics Unlimited, Inc. et al. Will counsel please introduce themselves for the record?
This is Atul Singh, counsel for plaintiffs.
And this is William O'Brien, counsel for the defendants and cross plaintiffs.
Okay, thank you. Will the court reporter please swear in the witness?
Would you raise your right hand? Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, I do.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
We're on the record? Okay. Good morning, Mr. Valenti. I understand that you've been deposed before in other matters. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. How many times have you been deposed before in other matters?
I think only once.
Only once, and that was in the matter that of the lawsuit against Jason Adelott.
Was
spelled
yes.
Adellotte. Okay. In that deposition, did you tell the truth?
Yeah, to the best of my ability, of course.
Okay. And I understand that you've had some recent misfortune. Your attorney, Mr. Singh, advised me that your home burned down last Friday, or the week before, a week ago Friday. Is it true that your house burned down?
Yes.
Was it a total loss, your house?
Yes.
And did you have materials related to Nero in your house?
Yes.
Okay, and can you describe what those materials were?
Let's see. 2, 4, 8 to 10 solid boxes full of papers given to me by Fort Ivy, Fran Moore, Fran Moore's children, Andy and Frank, a bunch of other Nero members in 1998 when I bought Nero International from Fort Ivy and Maureen Ivy. So it was, all the original maps in map holders burned up. Among, I've probably had 7,000 platinum coins and 5,000 silver and 5,000 gold coins burn up, or at least participate in the fire. I'm not sure if they actually melted. We haven't sifted through it yet. But generally that's about it. All the Nero rule books, all the versions that I had, all the hard copies, all burned.
Did you lose your computer in this fire?
Well, not really.
I understood from Mr. Singh that your computer was destroyed, so that's not true?
Well, there was 2 fires, so you...
I'm sorry, there's 2 fires?
Well, yeah, unfortunately it started on Friday morning and then it somehow resparked or restarted on Sunday morning, 48 hours later, or 42 hours later. So, yeah, so my computer was saved originally in the second fire is when it got burned or heated. So I'm not aware if it's actually working yet or not because I haven't had the opportunity or availability to actually plug it in and see if it turns on. And then if that actually occurs, then I have to check my 2 hard drives, which have the data on them. I did have Lucas Zimmerman scan in all of the original documents in 2015 or 16, except for the maps, when it became apparent to me that I was going to need them.
So were there other computers that you had in your house?
Sure.
How many other computers did you have in your house?
Desktop, laptops, what types of computers?
Any computers?
Sure, there were lots of them.
How many did
Dozens.
you have? Dozens? You had dozens of computers
Yes, I'm a computer guy.
You're a computer guy. Were you running a bit farm?
No.
Bitcoin farm?
Not at all.
You were not farming Bitcoin?
I was not running a single Bitcoin machine or farm, whatever you want to call it.
So what were these dozens of computers for?
Oh, there were laptops, desktops, I'm a computer guy. I probably had my own 12 there. And then throughout the years, I had acquired some more.
And those computers, they're also all destroyed?
Well, I can't say if they were all destroyed. I haven't had the time to go through them, the pile. So the second fire burned everything within about a 10 or 20 foot radius of the house, including the building I was in. And so that didn't necessarily burn up everything, but there's water damage because the fire trucks, the heroes of the day, came rolling in and doused the flames and put the fire out. And unfortunately, my stuff that we had salvaged from the house on the first day, the firemen had saved about two and a half rooms worth of stuff. We brought it all out, and it was actually on shelves, because some shelves were good, and all that stuff got either burned or damaged by water. Again, I haven't had a chance to turn on any of the laptops.
Had you ever lost a house to fire before this fire?
I don't think so.
No, never lost a. Did you ever have a barn burned down?
Oh, yes.
Okay. We'll mark this as Exhibit 1, please. I'll give you that one. I'll give you this one. And I'll give you this one. What are we marking this?
This will be one.
And so Valenti, so I'm just going to V1.
Yeah.
I'll go with just V1. Okay.
I'm sorry, do you want the witness to have the original?
Doesn't matter.
Okay.
Doesn't matter. It's, do you recognize this document at all?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Is that a picture of your barn burning down?
Well, let's see. I'll give you a yes. There were actually two barns there.
Two barns.
That burned down that day.
Okay. And this picture appears on your L.L.M website, does it not?
Yes, I believe so.
So can you tell me when the barns burned down? Oh, so there were two barns that burned down at that time, correct? That's what you're saying?
Yes, on that same day. Oh, these were taken today? Well, I don't think I can tell you when those barns burned down.
So the fact that it appears on the first page of the website that it says April 10th, 2021 isn't accurate?
Did I miss that somewhere? Yeah, okay, well, I don't know if that picture was taken, yeah, actually, no, it is. It would be on or around April 10th.
Okay.
Because I'm not sure if I put the picture up immediately or a day or two later or a month later. But it was around that area, April 10th, sure. Yes.
Okay. Do you know why the barns burned down? What was the cause of the fire?
Fire. Oh,
Yeah.
a fire. Oh, I don't know. Well, I mean, I have a lot of theories, but I didn't see the fire start. So I'm imagining that, according to the fire guys, it was a windy day and a fire ember from one of my fire pits near my house or in the location didn't get put out or got rekindled with the wind, and then that caused the ember to go towards my barns and burn my barns down.
But that's speculation.
Well, that's what they told me. I
That's
mean,
what they
I didn't
told
have
you.
a camera on the thing to watch the ember fly from wherever it flew. And
Do you know why your house burned down?
I thought I knew why. Well, again, that was all speculation.
Okay.
I guess since we're using that
What
term.
was the cause? What did the fire department, or has the fire
They
department
asked
made it?
me. They asked me if I speculated on how the fire started.
And what was your speculation?
I said I thought it started from the fireplace.
No, your house.
Yeah, from the fireplace. There's a fireplace in my house.
Oh, fireplace. I understood fire pits. Sorry.
From the
Okay.
fireplace. From the fireplace.
So, have you ever lost your house? I'm sorry. Have you ever lost your car to fire?
I don't think so.
Have you ever had your automobile or car repossessed?
Yeah.
How many times?
Oh, well, was it my car? No, I'd say no.
So you're changing your answer from yes, your car was repossessed, to no, it wasn't repossessed?
Hold on a second. Let me think about it for a minute. I go through it in my head.
Well, that's a good place to do that.
So I guess it might have been considered my car.
Okay.
Maybe, yeah.
Did you did you ever lose a hard drive other than in your house when the last burned down? Prior to the house burning down, did you ever lose a hard drive or have a hard drive destroyed?
I wouldn't say that I've ever had a hard drive destroyed. I try to save them. I don't think I've ever lost a hard drive, but odds are I might have. But no, I don't think I know of any other hard drives that were lost by me.
Have you ever told anyone that you had lost a hard drive?
Well, I don't know. I don't think so. I think I might have had hard drive failures from day to day, from time to time for sure, but I don't think I've ever actually misplaced the location of a hard drive.
Are you aware that a witness in this case, Mr. Mote, M-O-T-E, has stated that you told him that you've lost several hard drives over the years?
Oh, okay, sure. Let's find out where it's written down and let me look at the words. The lost.
I don't know that it is.
Or the I need the content.
So you're saying that the comments from Mr. Mote are not accurate?
Well, I don't know. I would have to read what he's saying. I said to him.
Okay.
Right. I mean, we're using the term lost here, which I think has a different definition depending on how it's used.
Your attorney has previously pled in a matter before this, in a motion before the court, that you had previously lost documents prior to your house burning down, and that these documents had been destroyed. Is that an accurate statement that they were destroyed, that you've lost documents?
Yeah, the documents that I don't have, I believe they were either lost or destroyed. Yeah, that would be true.
Okay, when did you lose these documents?
If I knew that, I'd probably have a more accurate idea on how I lost them and when they were lost. But I would say between the years 2009 and the year 2012 is when a good number of important documents was lost to water flooding inside of a shed. When I was stationed in Dubuque, Iowa, and the paperwork was in Barnesville, Georgia. Upon my return, I found out that a lot of papers were destroyed from water damage.
Those papers that were destroyed were relevant or in relation to Nero?
Oh yes, absolutely. That's the only thing that I have that's relevant is Nero paperwork.
Okay.
And so yes.
So you've lost paperwork apparently to flooding, and then you said you had 8 or 9 boxes, I believe was your testimony this morning, that you had.
Full boxes. I had 1, 2, 3, 4 rooms full of Nero assets.
4 rooms?
4 rooms, 16 feet, 15 and a half feet by 15 and a half feet. If you want to be as accurate as I think each one of those rooms was. They had shelves in the rooms. On the rooms was papers. I tried to get all the paperwork into one room. So that's why I know there was 2 shelves, metal shelves with 5, whatever the shelves on them each, which I had the plastic 33-gallon, I think it is, containers that you get for $8 at Walmart, full of papers.
So
Yes.
those papers that you lost in this fire, what time frame were those papers from?
Those were from 1990 or 1989 to actually to 2022.
So the papers that you lost in the flood, what periods were those papers?
Probably from 1990 to 2010.
Okay.
I came back 2011. I came back 2011 in September. So until about somewhere in September, October is when I hit the building, most likely-ish, and didn't realize what was lost until I started looking for it later. So things like when I'm looking for a piece of paper and I'm like, how come I don't have that? My reference is going to be that it can only have been lost in the box or boxes that were drenched, and I couldn't read the documents. They were so destroyed by water and ink everywhere.
So you had some, let me make sure I understand, you had some documents stored in Georgia, but not all documents stored in Georgia, is that correct?
Yeah, that's absolutely correct.
Okay, and the documents that you didn't have stored in Georgia were now destroyed in the fire in your house.
That's accurate. Yeah, sure.
Do you have any documents that haven't been destroyed by fire or water?
I believe I do.
Where are those kept?
Well, they were just recently brought down from New York to North Carolina, and some of them were in North Carolina that were waterlogged, where I peeled the pieces of paper apart on my front lawn during the week, this past week, and let the papers dry so that I wouldn't lose them, because evidently these were very super duper and really important pieces of paper. And I'm missing one, which I was looking for out of all of the 25 or 30 that I have.
25 or 30 boxes?
No, pieces of paper that I was able to save.
So I understand
In that one
you-
instance.
Is it correct then that you were storing documents in New York?
I found documents in New York. Whether or not I was purposely storing them there, yeah, I guess there was.
Where did you find these documents?
In my mom's house, my house, and my mom's house.
Did you produce these documents in this litigation?
No, I just got them.
Okay.
I
Until
literally
we'll
just took 4 trips.
get those documents then?
Of course you will.
Yep.
And just try and wait for him to finish the question.
sorry.
If you don't mind. Thank you. It just makes it a little easier. Thanks.
Are you storing, or have you stored documents anywhere else?
I don't think so, unless you count wherever I've moved to or been stationed at and lived in hotels since from the year 2007 to now.
So have you checked all of those various locations to see if you had documents?
Oh, yes, I believe so.
So is it correct then to say that you've located all the documents relative or in relation to Nero?
I hope so, yes, absolutely.
Okay. So you've checked every place that you think you could have documents, and you believe you produced them all, except for the ones obviously that were destroyed.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think. I mean, let me think about your sentence again here, because so I've located all of the documents. Oh no, well, is that digital as well as hard copy?
Yes.
Okay,
Documents.
okay. So I don't think so.
You don't think so? What?
I don't think I've located everything and given it all to you.
Why haven't you looked?
Well, everything takes time, and
Well, Mr. Valenti, you
I-
brought a lawsuit here, and we've
given
demanded document production several times. Your attorney has told me that you've produced
Everything
relevant
I've-
information, and here we are, and you haven't produced relevant documents apparently.
Well, no, actually, I think I've produced everything that you guys have asked for, and
You just told me you didn't.
time-consuming. Oh, well, then I must have misconstrued your question. Please,
Mr.
please ask it
Valenti,
again.
have you produced, I'm sorry, I'll backtrack. Have you looked in every location where you have stored documents to see if you have any documents relative to Nero?
Yeah.
Have you located all documents? You've produced all documents that you have located.
I'm sorry, ask the first question over again.
I think I'll let it stand.
Oh, I don't know what it is.
Yep, we'll
Oh,
let it
okay.
stand.
I got you. Yeah, okay.
When the barn burned down, Mr. Valenti, did you collect any insurance payments?
No.
Your property wasn't insured?
No.
When your house burned down, was your house covered by insurance?
No.
It's unusual. Usually when someone buys a house, was there a mortgage on the, they put a mortgage on the property, and that mortgage is typically insured. Did you have a mortgage on your house?
I don't agree with the statements that you just made.
What don't you agree with?
You know, all the sentences that you stated before you asked me a question. Not so sure how I'm supposed to say anything about that.
Did you have a mortgage on your house?
No.
You bought your house cash?
No.
Well, how did you pay for it?
Well, you're asking me a whole bunch of questions that I don't think that you even know what the answers are or what they're leading to. So,
Did you have a mortgage on your house?
when?
At any time?
No.
How did you pay for your house?
With cash.
Cash. You ran a business that is a co-plaintiff in this case called Nero International Holding Company, Inc. Is that correct?
I think that your statement is incorrect.
What company is the plaintiff in this action?
Well, you said I ran a company, not that I run a company. And so
Okay.
your statement was I ran a company that is current, and that's not false. I am running that company.
Okay.
So your statement was false. Your question.
So you didn't run it before?
With that run, no,
When
I've
did
been-
you start running it?
I've been running it forever.
Oh,
I've
so you
never
did run
stopped
it.
running it.
Oh,
And
okay.
you used the past tense word of ran. So if I had accidentally not caught the fact that you used the past tense term, I could have been caught up there. So
And
I'm
when was the
thinking,
company created?
Which company?
I thought you just responded to that. You just said that you are running a company.
That's
What
correct.
is the name? When did you start running that company?
Oh, July 24th, 1998,
1998.
I think,
Where was this company created?
in the state of New York.
Do you have any shareholders?
Just me.
Any directors?
Just me.
Any officers?
Just me.
Any employees?
Well, if that means full-time employee that receives a W-2, no.
Do you have any part-time employees that receive a W-2?
I don't think so, no.
Well, wouldn't you know?
Probably.
Why wouldn't you know? If you are the only officer, the only director, and the only shareholder, why wouldn't you know?
I don't have an answer for you.
Okay. So the corporate records for Nero International Holding Company, Inc., were they destroyed in this fire?
Oh, yes.
Can you...
I don't know. I don't know if the two books were destroyed.
What two books are those?
The corporate books. Nero International Holding Company, Inc. And there were two books for the same company.
I don't recall a tool that those corporate minute books were ever produced.
Yeah, we did.
We
So-
produced those.
Yeah.
They produced the corporate minute books?
We definitely-
Those were
we
digital.
definitely did, yeah.
They were
I
digital?
scanned them in. That's the only reason why I was able to pick them up out of my office and bring them outside when the fire was raging.
Okay.
Was because they were in my office, not upstairs in one of the storage rooms. And then I don't remember, because I've been running around between here and New York, New York and North Carolina. I don't remember if they were destroyed and if I picked them up and put them into the storage unit, or if they were destroyed when the second fire hit. Because I remember that they were outside in front of the storage unit that burned on the second fire, when it miraculously relit.
Were the corporate records stored anywhere else other than in your house?
Prior to them being in my house?
Okay.
Well, I mean,
Yes.
okay, I don't know. I can't answer your question. I think it's like vague, and I need to better.
I think it's vague. What's vague
Please
about
reword it.
What's vague about the question?
I don't know, it's leading. I don't know.
Well, you're saying it's vague, so
So when
why
you
is it
asked
vague?
me a question, I asked you a question in order for me to get
I'm not
more
on
information
deposition here,
about.
Mr. Valenti. You are.
Right,
I've
so-
asked you what is vague on the question.
If you just need some clarification, you can ask him.
Please
Go
clarify
ahead
your
and
question
go
for
ahead
me.
What
and
do you
answer the
need me to
question.
clarify? What do you need
I
me
have
to
no problem with
clarify?
answering the questions here. Okay,
What
so
do you
just calm
need
down.
what do you
You
need
need
me
to
to
calm down.
clarify?
Now, please repeat the question.
Could you read the question back, please?
I'm not sure which. where we
The
are, but I
question
can
is,
go back
yeah,
up.
the last question
You
was,
want me
where does he store the corporate records?
Question, were the corporate records stored anywhere else other than in your house? Answer, prior to them being in my house? Question, okay, yes. Answer, well, I can't answer your question. I think it's like vague and I
Thank
need to
you.
get-
What's vague about it? What don't you understand?
Well, I just told you that the papers were stored in my house, and then you said if they were they stored anywhere else. But how could they be stored anywhere else if they're currently stored in my house when the house burned down?
All right.
So then I asked for clarification from you, and asked you a simple question. You're talking about were my records stored anywhere else prior to them burning down in my house, since that's where they were when the house burned down, right?
Yes.
So that's why I was asking with some
Okay,
clarification from
yes, so
you. Yes, my papers were stored in other locations. I only moved to North Carolina in 2015, and I'm unsure exactly when the papers got to
Sorry,
that house.
I only moved to North Carolina.
In 2015, 2014. Oh,
And that's
shoot.
when the papers got.
And I'm not sure when the papers actually arrived at the North Carolina location. But yes, they were definitely in other locations.
And each time you moved, did you take all the corporate records with you?
I don't know. I don't remember.
So is it possible that there are other corporate records in other locations where you had been storing them previously?
Oh, well, no. Didn't I answer that earlier?
No.
No, I don't think so.
Okay. So it's accurate to say that all the corporate records that you had for Nero International Holding Company were in your house when it burned down?
Well, I don't know if that's accurate. I have the two storage sheds, one which didn't burn and one which did partially burn.
So
But
your
it-
corporate
on the
records were in the
vicinity.
storage sheds?
Well, no, you just asked for, oh, wait, no, okay, yeah, I'll say yes, that's good. Yeah, yes.
You have corporate records in your storage shed?
No, actually, the answer is probably no. Well, the answer might be yes. I have corporate records in my storage shed.
Well, I know it could be maybe yes and it could be maybe
Well,
no.
no, the answer
Which one
right
is it?
now, the answer is yes. That's where I placed all of the papers that I retrieved from the burned building in the last week prior to coming here. So I would say right now there are some corporate papers, I think, in the storage unit.
What are the corporate papers in your storage shed?
I have, the only corporate papers that I might know of is that 2 books, which I don't know if they burned or got waterlogged and are unreadable, which I just explained. And then there's 25 or so registrations of the copyrighted work for the Nero rulebook of all of its versions, the Player's Guide, and a bunch of other copyrights that I received from the U.S. Copyright Office, which evidently are very, very important. So when I saw the pile waterlogged outside in the fire ring, but not burned, I separated them and put them on the lawn so they would dry, and then I picked them up later, and I put them in a brown envelope. I think it was a beige envelope that folds, and then I stuck it in the building.
Do you have a
safekeeping.
job?
Yes, I do.
So who do you work for?
And well, it depends. I own Nero International Holding Company. I work for Nero.
Do you work for anybody else?
Well, yes, I have a corporate job.
Who do you work for?
A Fortune 50 company.
Which
I would
for?
rather not say.
Please answer the
You
question.
can answer the question, Joe.
Okay, I work for a company called Kyndryl.
Kyndryl. Do you receive a paycheck from them?
Yes, I do.
Where is the paycheck deposited?
Into my account,
Which account?
into my PayPal account.
Do you have any other bank accounts?
No,
You only have a PayPal account.
I have a PayPal account, correct.
Okay. Did you ever have a separate account for Nero?
Yes.
Where is that?
Where is it, or where was it?
Where is it?
The separate account?
Yeah.
It's nowhere.
It's nowhere? You don't, the bank account doesn't exist, but you have one.
No, I believe that you asked me a different question 3 questions ago, and you're stumbling over your own questions right now.
No, I'm not. I'm asking you, does Nero have a bank account? Nero
No.
International Holding Company.
A bank
Inc.
account?
Yes.
It depends on how you look at things. Is PayPal considered a bank by your terms of bank
I don't know, is
account?
it?
Yes.
Okay.
Nero has a bank account.
Nero has a bank account.
Okay.
Have you produced all records from your personal bank account with PayPal and all records from PayPal for Nero International Holding Company, Inc.?
I think so. I'm not sure. I'd have to go back and look.
Where would you look?
In the 20 or 40,000 pages of stuff that we've given you. And then I would look to see if there's PayPal info from my personal account.
Oh, there's
here.
PayPal info there,
I'd have to go
Mr.
in-
Valenti, but
So
I don't
then yes.
recall there
Hold
being...
on. I
Okay.
need one at a time.
You're-
I
you
cannot
gotta
take
calm
both of
down,
you.
man.
Both of you, please. Thank
I
you.
think I'm trying to answer as good as I can here. So.
Ready?
Alright.
Okay, was the bank account called PayPal the sole bank account for Nero International Holding Company from 1998 until present?
No.
What bank did you use for Nero International Holding Company prior to using your PayPal account or the PayPal account?
I don't know. I probably Chase, United Bank, Wachovia. I guess those three.
So you don't recall which bank accounts your company used?
Well, you're talking about things that are 10 and 15 years ago. So yeah, I don't recall exactly all of the names of all of the banks where I held a bank account that I put my business money into. I'd say sure.
When did you start using the PayPal account?
In the year 2000 or 2001.
So the year 2000, so you only had the business, so you started the business in 1998. So you ran from 2000 on the PayPal account as the only bank for Nero International Holding Company, Inc.?
No.
What other banks did you use?
I think I just answered that question, didn't I?
Well, you remember that you had the bank of PayPal since 2000, and then all of a sudden you said you changed and used different banks.
No, you asked me if I had other banks besides PayPal since the year 2000 or so, or after the year 2000. And I answered your question.
Yes, and you said yes, and I asked you which one.
And I said I answered that question about 4 questions ago. Didn't I?
Just to clarify here, you're
I think it was.
he's talking about the Nero account, not your personal.
Oh God.
I believe that's what he's talking about.
Okay,
So just-
I believe
you don't have to mix the two.
It could be Wachovia, Chase, and United Bank.
Do you have any records from those banks?
No, if I had any records, I think they would have burned up in my house fire one week ago. However, I might have them on my computer, but that might also be destroyed. I would have to start scanning stuff, I guess. I would probably say whatever we've given you is probably what I already found, if we've given you anything, if that was asked for.
So in the year 2002, Nero International Holding Company was dissolved by the state of New York. Is that correct?
Well, I don't know, actually. I'd have to go back and look at the piece of paper. I'm going to assume that the answer is yes. What was the, let's go over the question again.
No, thanks.
Okay. I think that might be a yes.
At any time, did you tell anyone that you had ceased running the Nero games?
No.
Did you tell anyone that Nero International Holding Company, Inc. had ceased operations?
I don't think so.
So, if you never ceased running Nero International Holding Company that you created in 1998, why did you have a Nero International Holding Company created again later?
Well, it depends on how you look at things. I really didn't have a Nero International Holding Company created any time after I had it created in 1998. So I think there's a confusion. In 2005, which is what you're referring to, I was talking with some advisors, and they advised me that my business was messed up in paperwork, and they told me I could pay them and they would fix it. And I said, that's terrific. I paid them, they fixed it. I received another book in the mail. I thought they fixed my company because it was the same name. I thought my company was all fixed.
Who did you talk to?
There are attorneys, an attorney company.
Which attorney?
I think that's a client of privilege or something like that.
No.
No,
It's
you can
not.
name the
Oh,
attorney,
okay.
but-
I think it was a company called Furgang and Adwar.
Where are they located?
I think in White Plains or New City, New York. Or they were back then in the year 2005. I do not know about where they're located now.
Okay. So you, this second company that was created, Nero International Holding Company, how long was it in existence for?
You could tell me better than I can tell myself, since I think everyone's telling me it got dissolved in the year 2011 by the state of New York.
Were there any shareholders in that company?
Just me. Again, I never thought that it was a separate company, so there was not. I never even knew that that company really existed until someone told me about it, and that it was a separate company. I had, again.
Were there any directors?
Just me.
Any officers?
Probably just me.
Did you keep the corporate minute book for this?
As best as I could, either on the computer, or on the paper.
So you maintained records for the second corporation that was.
Oh, I'm sorry. No, I apologize. I misconstrued. I didn't differentiate between the second corporation and this first corporation. So I kept records for Nero International Holding Company Incorporated, which I believe I started in 1998 on July 24th, and everything I did was pretty much that company. I really didn't differentiate between the two. At some point, I actually thought I might have spelled some stuff wrong in my paperwork, like the word company versus CO dot or something. I remember that a period of time. And I think I changed some paperwork to the word company as opposed to CO period, which because I didn't know. But there was really no differentiation between these two companies until this whole thing started, and you know, I started looking around in New York State Department of State. I think they're called the Department of State.
So when did you realize that the second entity had been created?
I'm not so sure that I can remember the exact time when I realized it.
What year?
I think a lot of the paperwork that I see says somewhere in 2014 that there was two companies, and I actually don't remember seeing my own document from 2014. So I had thought that when the state of New York told me in 2016 or 17, what am I going to do with this other company? And I said, what other company? And they said, well, you have another company, Nero International Holding Company. And I said, oh, I don't know what's that. And they told me it was the second company that was created in 2005. And I said, oh, what can we do? That's my company too, I guess. And they said, oh, we'll just merge it into your 1998 company because it's the same company. You can't have started the second company if the first company was active. So we're going to merge the two. And I said, okay, that's terrific. Thank you so much.
So you did not realize until 2014 that there were two entities out there?
I don't even know if I remembered in 2014. It might have been like a thing that was a passing point, or it's like a conversation that you see in a group of conversations, in a sentence that you see in a conversation that doesn't really mean that much to you, and you let it go, but it means something to somebody else. It didn't. So I have found a document that I think I made in 2014 that shows the second company, and I don't, in 14, 15, 16, I really wasn't focused at all on any second company. I was focused on my company needed to be reinstated. The New York State Department of the New York Department of State and the IRS had all kind of told me what I had to do to fix it. So I filled out a whole bunch of paperwork, and I prayed to the Lord that I didn't miss one. I missed a whole bunch, and I filled out some more, and then eventually they came back and gave me a certificate and said, your business is back in operation. I gave that certificate to the Department of State. They said, terrific, your business is all set up now, Mr. Valenti. It's as if you never got dissolved. And I said, oh, that's terrific. And then they said, what do you want to do with the second company? And I said, I don't even know what you're talking about with the second company.
When did this paperwork to reinstate the company get filed?
Oh, I don't remember exactly, depending on which paper you're talking about.
So I'm talking about the one you're talking about.
Oh, so I had to fill out a whole bunch of paperwork with the Department of State, I think, and also with the IRS and the New York State Department of Taxation. And once I got all those paperworks in order, then one of those, I forgot if it was, I think it was the New York State Department of Taxation, wrote me a letter that said I had fixed all paperwork that I had not done, like a biennial report and all this other jazz. And then they gave me a piece of paper that said, hey, Valenti has fixed his business up, and it's all good to go. So I had brought that. I had to fax it, I think, or email it to the Department of State. And Department of State ultimately said, okay, your business is now reinstated. I think they used the word. I wasn't, again, those are minor things that I was paying attention to.
So Nero International Holding Company, created in 1998, was administratively dissolved in 2002 by the Department of New York, correct?
I think so, yeah.
Okay. When was the second company
I
called?
think we just said it somewhere 2011 or 2010.
So between the years of 2011 and 2014, what business was operating?
Oh boy, it depends on how you look at things. Nero International Holding Company, Inc. was operating. Nero Live Adventure Games, LLC was operating. Let's see, 2014. Nero was operating as a business between those years, 11 and 14, yeah, for sure. Nero was operating as an entity with my name, and then we have Nero International Holding Company as an entity under my name, and then we have Nero Live Adventure Games LLC as an entity in Pennsylvania under my name. Those three businesses were all operating.
Hold on.
Sorry.
You're going really fast.
I apologize.
I lost you at any name. And then they were Nero Live Adventure Games LLC was a game in Pennsylvania operating.
Under my name, and those were between the years of 2011 and 2014, like you asked. Yes. Thank you.
So this entity Nero, where was that created?
That was a DBA I created in the state of Georgia. When I moved to Georgia in 2009, I believe immediately got a DBA, doing business as Nero, with a business of live adventure games, and with the local town clerk in Barnesville, Georgia. And then I did it 2009, 10. Well, I think I did it 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and 14. But I might have missed 1 year. I'm unsure which one, maybe 12 or 13 or 11. I was in Dubuque, Iowa for 2010 and 11, so I might have missed one of those 2 years. I'd have to go back. I'd have to call up the Barnesville folks. They're good people in the courts, and I'd have to call them up and ask them to look it up for me, and because I don't.
Do you realize, Mr. Valenti, that a DBA is not a business name? It's not the incorporation?
Oh, well, wait, I'm sorry. You asked me what business was operating, right? And
yes.
I went and I filled out a piece of paper that said doing business as. So if Joe Valenti is doing business as Nero, I would think that Nero would be a business that Joseph Valenti was doing business as. So if you have a definition that's different, present the definition to me.
No, I'll present it to the court.
Okay, cool. That's very cool, too.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, in the time frame of 2011, when Nero International Holding Company, the second iteration, was dissolved, and its reinstatement, which occurred sometime, I'm unclear when, under what name were you doing business?
I don't
Between 2011 and
I need some clarification on your question.
Okay.
You
What
kind of made some statements, and then you kind of asked a question, and then you started asking another question. So if you can.
Between the year
down.
2011 and whenever you reinstated Nero International Holding Company, under what name were you doing business?
Between 2011, when Nero International Holding Company number 2 was dissolved,
Right.
and the time in which I reinstated Nero International Holding Company 1. What business was I doing business as? I was doing business as Nero International Holding Company, Nero Live Adventure Games, Nero, Nero, those 3. I think, didn't I just answer that question?
Did you file tax returns for each of those entities?
Yeah, I think I did.
Okay. In the year 2006, which Nero International Holding Company existed?
The one I was running.
Which one?
Well, in 2006, I would say Nero International Holding Company 1 existed, and so did Nero International Holding Company number 2.
Well, if
Since it
Nero
was the year
International Holding
2006.
if Nero International Holding Company number 1 had been dissolved in 2002, how could it still have been running?
Oh, well, the government wasn't running the business ever. I was. So when the government says that a business isn't running, it's just the government thinking that a business isn't running, thinking incorrectly, wrongly, that a business isn't running. They did some other stuff for paperwork. They took their action for paperwork, but I was actually operating a business with 2006, that would be 7 years, 4, 5, 6 years, 18. I probably had a good 20 or 5 or 30 franchises, licensees. I don't know what term people use nowadays. I always used licensees and chapters. I probably had 34 chapters in the year 2006.
Did you know in 2002 that the state of New York had dissolved Nero International?
I don't think so. I really don't, because I probably would have just fixed it.
Well, what did you do then to figure out that you needed to form Nero International Holding Company 2?
I didn't do anything to figure that out. Someone else figured it out for me, I suppose, if those are the terms you want to use. I was at an attorney's office. They said, your business's paperwork is messed up. I said, okay, how do I fix it? They said, we could fix it. I said, okay. I handed them a bunch of money. A book showed up a few weeks or months later. I remember my mom calling me and telling me that a book showed up at the house. I probably saw it months later or weeks later in 2006. I might have actually been even living at my mom's house in 2019, Fremont at that time, but otherwise I was at my cousin's helping him with his 3 kids. I'm unsure when I might have departed from my cousin's house. I lived with him for 6 years or so, helping him with his 3 kids when he got a divorce from his wife.
So in 2006, when that book arrived?
Yeah, I think it was 2000, or maybe 5 or 6.
So-
Whenever
okay.
the book arrived, whenever that book arrived.
And what did you understand that book to be?
It was a corporate book. They had fixed my paperwork, and they sent me this book that I was supposed to keep track of a few minor things and do. I was supposed to sign something or something.
Okay.
It was a corporate book, that proved or something like that I registered my business with the state of New York. And so I guess I had thought, since my business was messed up because I messed up the papers, is that when I gave them the pile of money, they sent me back a new, updated, fresh book. It had the same business name on it. I was like, score. I'm back in business, so to speak, with a proper business in the state of New York. So no one's upset with me.
So did you understand that Nero International Holding Company that was created 2005, 2006 was a different company?
No, I didn't understand that, and it wasn't. I mean, even if it was, even as it stands, learned now, it's the same company, just with a different DOS name.
Did you say DOS, D-O-S?
DOS, yeah. I think that's a Department of State number or a name that they give every separate, and I have two, one with NIH1 and one with NIH2. So to me, and I think to the rest of the world, and even to the Department of State, it's the same company.
Mr. Valenti, do you understand how a company runs?
I think so.
Okay. What is the duty of a shareholder?
I would have to go and look that up, sir. I don't keep it up in my brain.
What is your current understanding of what a shareholder is?
There are a lot of different understandings of
What is your understanding?
It's my job to do the bidding of the owners of the owners of the company. The shareholders are the owners. They get to say, make as much money as you want, as you can, doing whatever it is. We know that from the corporate world. Or they also get to say, we're going to have a solid set of policies that we're going to follow, and we're not going to rip off the customer or the consumer for every dime that we could possibly get off them. We're going to be nice to our members. And so I guess the shareholder has to tell the person who's running the show to do that.
Okay. Do you understand what directors do?
Well, they would probably do the directing of stuff.
Okay. And what do officers do?
Like officer stuff.
Like what?
I don't know. I have to go look that up, sir.
Okay. So you understood, though, that you were a shareholder, director, and officer of the company.
Yeah, sure.
And did you ever sell stock in the company? Either one of the two?
No.
No. Did you ever offer that for sale?
Yes.
You offered it for sale?
Plenty of times.
Plenty of times. And did anyone ever purchase stock?
No.
Okay, I'll do the exhibit number 2. Are you comfortable? Do you recognize this document?
Yes.
Did you write this?
Yes.
Okay. Is the date of August 14th, 2006 an accurate date?
Yes.
Okay. Could you read under number 1? Could you read that paragraph, please? Could you read it out loud, please?
Oh, sure. Is Nero being sold? Nero is not being sold, not to L.L.M Armory or any other company. I have indeed sold a good percentage of the company in order to raise funds over the last 8 years. Selling parts of the company has always been my plan, and I continue to take on private investors and worker investors in the company. Nero International continues to distribute stock to individuals who the shareholder majority votes has gone the extra mile.
Who were those people that you sold the stock to?
No one.
Okay. Number 2, under number 2, could you read that first sentence?
2. Who is buying it?
Yes. First sentence.
Oh, I'm sorry. First sentence. A number of people who bought Nero shares, and there are a few who are still buying it.
Who did you sell the stock to?
No one.
Does it not say that the people had bought shares?
Yes, that's what it says.
And you wrote this email?
Yes.
Well, just to clarify here, this is, you're not writing the question and answering the question. Is that?
Somebody
this
asked
something you're
these
responding
questions,
to?
I believe, yeah. Who is buying it? Is Nero being sold? If so, who is buying it? And then why is Joe selling? I think somebody asked me a bunch of these questions, and so I was responding to them.
Could we read number 3?
Which one?
There's only one number 3.
Oh, you mean why is Joe selling?
Yes.
Oh, you want me to read more?
Read it all out. Yep.
I have since 1998 raised funds by selling shares of stock in the company. Nothing has changed. Most of the current Nero owners not want to spend money on marketing and advertising. Figure it out. Total year-to-date expenses of the company, including all those, is around $850,000.
Okay, thank you. That's good enough. So, who are the owners mentioned in this paragraph?
Oh, in 2006. I don't recall. It's hard to remember. I don't think that you realize what I'm speaking about when I use that sentence there. You're talking about most of the current Nero owners do not want to spend money on marketing and advertising?
I'm not saying anything.
Oh,
Okay, we'll leave it at that.
okay. Okay.
Actually, we'll go back to this for a quick second. Exhibit number 2. Across the top, it says, and please correct me if I misread it, not for public consumption. Do not give this to anyone. Anyone. Do not, misspelling, give to this or talk to Jeremy Collins about anything. Who's Jeremy Collins?
Former Nero chapter licensee.
Why could you not disclose this document to Jeremy Collins?
Oh, he was a hostile individual.
How was he hostile?
He likes to badmouth me on the internet.
What did he say about you?
I don't know. I don't recall.
Did you ever sue Mr. Collins?
No.
Did you ever form a company called Nero Live Adventures Games, LLC?
Nero Live Adventures Games, LLC. Maybe that or a similar company.
What similar company would you have
There
formed?
might not have been an S somewhere around there
Might not have been an S.
on the end of adventure. But I don't know. I'd have to go back and look. It's been a long time.
So is it correct that the name of the company was Nero Live Adventure Games, LLC?
That sounds more correct. Yes, sir.
Okay. Where was this entity formed?
The state of Pennsylvania.
When was it formed?
I believe 2011.
Do you have any corporate records for the formation of that entity?
Not on me.
Where would you have them?
If we haven't provided them to you, I would probably say we don't have any documents, if you've asked for them.
Well, we certainly have asked for them and have also checked the records of the state of Pennsylvania, and there's no company by that name.
Shut that off, Joe.
I thought I did. Okay, I'm sorry. Yeah.
So we haven't seen any corporate records at all for the Nero Live Adventures Adventure Games LLC. Why not?
I would have to go back and look in the 40,000 documents that we gave you to see if the 2 forms or 3 forms that I remember having for that company were included. So one was a docket number, I think, docketing statement or something, and the other one might have been a signed docketing statement.
So to the best of your recollection, there was an actual filing with the state of Pennsylvania to create the company?
That is absolutely true. There was a filing with the state to create the company.
Do you know that the company was actually created?
Well, it depends on how you look at things. I think the company was created.
So when you, well, let me rephrase that. I understand that you filed a lawsuit against a Jason Adelot in Texas. Is that correct?
That's correct.
In whose name did you file that lawsuit?
In whose name, you mean as myself, or as in Nero International or Nero Live Adventure Games?
Yes.
I'd have to go and look at the paperwork.
What happened in that suit? What was the result of that suit?
The judge told Jason Adelaide and Joe Bearden and Giovanna Longo a number of things, and they didn't listen to the judge.
I'm sorry, there's no record of that.
Oh, that's right, there's no record. Oh, I was there, so were a bunch of other people.
Right, what happened, what was the court's decision in that case?
I believe that they found Mr. Adelaide not guilty? What's the term?
I believe, would it be...
What's the term?
Would it be interesting to learn that the court dismissed the case because Nero Live Adventure Games, LLC, was determined not to have existed?
Oh, that would be news to me. That's not what I received in mail for the
What
Jason
did you receive in the mail?
Well, I thought we had a trial that day at the Jason Adelaide case with a judge. And he said I didn't have enough proof to win the case against Mr. Adelaide directly.
Is that true?
Name you just said, in the case, it was Joe Valongo or something?
Oh, Giovanna Longo, Jovann.
I'm saying J-O-V.
I don't know, actually. Ask Mr. Bearden the name of his wife and how to spell it.
Let's say it again to me,
Giovanna Longo. So, as I was saying, the judge told me that I didn't have enough proof against Mr. Adelaide personally in order to win the case. But if I went back and brought the case against Nero Houston LLC, the company which signed the agreement with me, the Nero license agreement, but was never created by Jason Adelaide. He lied to me when he said he created that business. So
well, that's not what I asked.
So the
what
judge
was the
told
court?
me that if I did that, then he would told Mr. Adelaide that he would give me $5,000, like the Nero license says, for Mr. Adelaide breaching his license agreement with me.
We're not relitigating this case, Mr. Valenti. What was the decision of the court?
I think I told you. I
It
said
was dismissed.
He didn't. Oh, is that no? That's not true. It was the
You
judge.
received $5,000?
The judge found that I didn't have enough proof to win the case. It was not dismissed. We were at the courtroom.
So if you didn't have enough evidence to win the case, but the case wasn't dismissed?
Well, no, that's not how it works. You don't dismiss cases that don't have enough evidence, I think. I think you side with one party or the other, and I think the judge did not side with me in the case because I accidentally sued Mr. Adelaide directly instead of Nero Houston LLC. And again, the judge said that if I just went and did that, and he told Mr. Adelaide right to his face, I will award Mr. Valenti $5,000.
Did you do that?
No, I did not.
So if you already had an entity called Nero International Holding Company, Inc., and you were doing business as Nero International Holding Company, Inc., why did you form an LLC in Pennsylvania?
That's because in 2011, I was stationed in Dubuque, Iowa. I began talking with one of my Nero members, and he explained a few things to me regarding how business operates and how you can define or create businesses and operate them. And so he told me that he would, him and his partner would operate or manage the business end of things if I created an LLC in Pennsylvania and under his business's management, whatever you want to call it. And I was, of course, I'm not very good at it. I'm a nerd. So I'm not a business guy that wants to run a business, and I failed miserably at filling out paperwork, and so I was like, sure, let's do that. And then he sent over paperwork. I sent it back or filed it or sent it in. I don't remember exactly what happened or how it worked out, but that's why I created an LLC in Pennsylvania, because an attorney member, Nero, of mine, said that he would manage it all, and that him and his partner could.
So who was this person?
I don't know if I'm supposed to say that. It's a client-attorney privilege or
No, it's
stuff
not.
like that.
It's not.
No, you can answer.
Okay, sure. This is Doc Harris.
And this gentleman was an attorney?
Yes.
And this person, did he then indeed manage Nero Live Adventure Games?
No.
He did not. Who managed the live?
I did.
Why didn't he manage it?
I don't have any answers for that.
Did anyone else participate in this LLC?
No, just me.
So during the period where you were running Nero, I'll call them NLAG. I'll abbreviate the Nero Live Adventure Games LLC as NLAG, N-L-A-G, right? When you were running NLAG, did you have separate advertising for NLAG, separate from NIHC? Yeah.
Ooh, I don't remember. I might have. Depends. I probably used the same documents. I may have changed the names on the documents, for the company operating, because that's what you're supposed to do. But I wasn't really. I wasn't really marketing Nero International Holding Company or Nero Live Adventure Games. I was marketing Nero.
Under your DBA?
Under whatever I do, under me.
Okay.
Whatever the country wants me to do, I do with business paperwork. But
Okay, so did you,
is me.
in the period where you were running NLAG, did you maintain a separate set of books for NLAG?
Well, what do you mean by books?
Any profit and loss statements or Quicken accounts?
Well, I mean, that's all my money. So it all was into my accounts. The Nero PayPal account is the Nero PayPal account. All the money goes into Nero PayPal, except for minor amounts. If PayPal is having problems, or if my PayPal was down because of the freaking API was, if PayPal was down because an API wasn't installed or was having problems, or but everything goes through Nero. Every Nero thing goes through PayPal since June 2000 or June 2001. I'm not sure when I started it. It's again 20 years ago, so I don't remember.
So you were running 3 separate businesses, correct?
Yeah.
Did you maintain
Well,
3?
actually, they were kind of all the same business, but yeah, they were all in 3 different names, yeah, because of paperwork, yeah.
So now I'm confused. You didn't have 3 separate entities. They were all the same entity?
Well, I mean, I'm Nero. So Nero, that's Nero. It's Joe Valenti. Everyone in the world knows it. Nobody doesn't know that Joe Valenti is Nero. In the year 2006, everybody in the world knew Joe Valenti was Nero. That's me, Joseph Valenti. If I moved in 2009, thought I couldn't operate a New York State business from the state of Georgia, so I got a DBA to cover my ass. Right? That's what I did. I got a DBA because that's what the government says you got to get a business or something. So I got one. And then I did it for the following years. And I got stationed in Dubuque, Iowa, working for IBM. So I got a DBA in Georgia, and so I could do business where my home was while I was stationed. Then 2011, someone says, we can fix all this stuff up. And, because I had questions. I didn't know what I was doing. I couldn't operate in New York because I was living in Georgia. Right? So he says, let's get another business going in Pennsylvania. I live in Pennsylvania. I'm in Pennsylvania is what he said to me. Hey, I can manage it.
Okay, so if you are Nero International Holding Company, Inc., that's you. Is that what you're telling me?
Well, yeah, that's me, right?
Nero International Holding Company, Inc. is you.
Yeah.
How has Nero International Holding Company, Inc. then been damaged by any actions by any of the defendants in this case?
Damaged?
Yeah.
Oh, well, tremendously.
How?
Well, the defendants went out to the internet and they destroyed my reputation. They took away
Well,
everything.
that's your reputation. I'm talking about Nero International Holding Company, Inc., the entity. You've brought the lawsuit in the name of Nero International Holding Company, Inc. I want to know how Nero International Holding Company, Inc. is being harmed.
Right, so the reputation of Nero International Holding Company, Inc. has been utterly destroyed by your clients.
But, Mr. Valenti, you've just testified that it's not separate from you. So if it's not separate from you, what's Nero International Holding Company been damaged by? What's their specific damage to the company?
I don't know what you're asking.
How has the company been damaged? Your lawsuit
guess we'll have
asserts
to
that
get-
Nero International
You're raising
Holding
your voice.
Company, Inc.
Please just calm down, my friend.
No, I'll ask the questions. So, Nero International Holding Company has brought this action as a co-plaintiff.
That's correct.
How have they been damaged?
Monetarily, financially, reputationally. I'm unsure what words you're looking for.
I want you to specify the damages to Nero International Holding Company, Inc.
Well, I guess we can go over it. If you look at just the amount of income that the company has generated through PayPal from my website, you will notice that the income has decreased since the day, since October of 2018 or 19, I have to go back and look, since the day that Ford Ivy told all of my licensees that if they continue to run a Nero business under my licensing, under license, that Ford Ivy Nero World would sue them. They all.
So,
a
Mr.
number
Valenti,
of
what
chapters-
is
you're
the
interrupting me.
damages?
You're interrupting me. I'm not
Yes,
sure
I
if
am,
you-
because
Just
this
let
is
him
going
finish his
nowhere.
answer,
No,
and then-
I'm going to end the answer because it's a rambling answer. It is not relevant.
not a
to this.
rambling answer.
It's
He's
a
at-
rambling
he's-
answer.
he's
I
giving
mean, it's
you-
a
you
rambling
should
answer.
reason.
I'm not going to. I'm not
should
going to.
calm down.
You can finish your
I'm not.
answer.
Thank you.
Then you
Get
can
all
move
of
on.
you, just so you know. Doing my
Okay.
best.
What is the monetary damages to Nero International Holding Company, Inc.?
I would have to get back to you on that question.
Did NLAG have a separate bank account?
Oh, no.
What bank account was used for NLAG?
PayPal.
Whose name was the PayPal account in?
Probably NLAG. It might have been on my name for a short period of time, or even Nero International's name for a short period of time in an overlapping fashion. I would have to go back and look in the PayPal records themselves to see. But I'm pretty positive I tried to put the name of the predominantly used business that I was operating under into the PayPal business field, business name field.
So was that a separate account from the account that you have with PayPal?
In the year 2000.
And at any time?
And,
At any time?
no, NLAG's account was included in, no, NLAG account was not my personal account. It was
So you
the
had a s-
Nero business account.
So you have a Nero business account? Do you have your own account with PayPal?
I have my own, right now, I have my own account for PayPal under my name.
Is that the same one that that PayPal account, is that the same PayPal account you're using for Nero International Holding Company, Inc.?
No.
You have a separate one for Nero
I have
International
a
Holding?
separate PayPal account for Nero. And the International Holding Company Incorporated, yes.
Okay, did you have a separate one for NLAG?
No, NLAG was the same one that was used for Nero International Holding Company.
So, Atul, I don't recall getting documents for Mr. Valenti's private account and for a separate account for Nero International Holding Company or NLAG. I'm very confident, so we'll get those documents.
think I
Well,
gave them all
all the
away.
PayPal information we gave you may have just changed the name on the
Are you
bank account.
testifying for him now? He just
No,
testi-
but
okay.
we gave you all the PayPal account relevant to Nero.
But that's not what we asked for. We asked for all documents regarding both plaintiffs. So he's
Well,
a
if he has
plaintiff
it,
in
he
this
can-
action. Right, so he
Okay,
should give them
we
to
can
you.
produce it.
We can produce them. It's 11 o'clock. Do you want a break?
No,
No.
unless my attorney
I
wants to.
have no idea,
or
yeah.
Okay, we'll
if
go off the
Judy
record.
would like to take a break, sure. Judy or Julie?
Okay, time's 11:12, we're off the record. Okay, time's 11:26, we're back on the record.
Mr. Valenti, could you go back to Nero Exhibit 2, please?
Yes.
Is there anything on this email that you wrote not true?
Various parts of it.
Which ones?
Well, item number 7 states that I'm receiving $100 million. I'm sorry. I'm receiving $100 billion US dollars in small denominations from the mafia in Kenya each year for the next 3 years. I would think that that would be jocular humor or a lie, depending on how you want to word it. Let's see, number 9 there says that after I get my first $1 billion US dollars in small denominations from the Kenya mafia, that I will retire in the Hudson River. I think that would be false or joke, lie. No one wants to retire in the Hudson River. So the number 3, figure it out. Total year-to-date expenses of the company, including all known expenses, around $850,000. That was a general number in the range of what I thought I had spent over the years. So it could have been a couple $50,000 less or $50,000 more or so. Or that was generally the range I thought was true. You know.
Anything else?
Well, it depends on how you look at things. This, again, is really difficult. So,
Can we move on then?
Yeah.
Okay. Mr. Valenti, do you know a Kevin Sterbikoff?
Yeah, he's a great guy. Terrific person.
Did you ever offer him stock?
I'm unsure. I don't recall.
Did you ever offer Matt Pearson stock?
Oh, yes.
And how much did he get?
Nothing.
Why didn't he get any stock?
We never finished any deal.
You never finished any deal. What deal were you contemplating? Was there a contemplation of a deal?
Yes, of course there was.
Okay, so what was the contemplated deal?
I would have to get the document and look at it. Do you have the document with you?
No, I want your best recollection.
I don't recall.
You don't recall. Was Matt Pearson an employee of your company?
By definition of employee, no.
What definition are you applying?
I've learned that the definition of employee means working full-time and receiving a W-2 form of some sort at the end of your yearly tenure.
Okay, if he was a part-time employee, would he be considered an employee?
No, I don't think so.
So even though the name part-time employee is used to describe employee?
Well, I've heard a lot of definitions lately, and so if you want to provide a definition to me that you'd like me to use in this question, I'd be more than happy to use that definition.
Part-time employee means part-time employee. Did you pay anyone
I was
as a part-time person ever?
If the definition of employee means, did I ever submit a W-2 to an individual in the last 24 years, the answer is no. I do not remember ever issuing a W-2 to anyone.
So what role, if any, did Mr. Pearson have with any of your corporations?
Well, Matt Pearson was a staff member of mine and was empowered and authorized to do whatever work that he was given at the time by me and by the company, I guess, by default.
So you had a staff?
Yes.
Who was on your staff?
Repeat the question, please.
Who was on your staff?
When?
Anytime.
More people than I can remember.
Name some.
Matt Pearson.
Anybody else?
I'll have to get back to you. The name is extensive, and I'm just...
Do you have a staff now?
Yes.
Who's on that staff?
Donnie Light. Sherry Taylor. Charles Bailey. And I'd have to go back out and look.
Is Jason Boyd on your staff?
No.
Is there a Jerry Boyd on your staff?
Maybe, yes. Yes.
Is it true that Mr. Boyd is a convicted arsonist?
I don't believe so. I believe that's a lie.
So you had heard that he was been called an arsonist?
Only by Jason Mote the other day.
Only by Jason Mote the other day.
Right.
Okay. Did you do a background check before taking anyone on your staff?
No.
Does anyone get paid to be on your staff?
Yes.
Who gets paid?
Now or before?
At any time. You have.
I don't recall. I'd have to go back and look it up.
You don't recall whether your current staff is getting paid?
Mm-hmm. No one on my current staff gets paid. I'm sorry. I thought that you were asking a different question.
Your attorney, again, your attorney told me and told the court that you were being audited by the IRS for your past 3 years' tax returns. Is it true that you're being audited on your past 3 years' tax returns?
I think so. I'm unsure. I have to call the IRS and figure out if 17 was in the realm also, or if it was just the 15 and the 16.
So what years are you being audited on?
I believe it's 15, 16, and 17.
Have you filed tax returns for the years 21, 20, and 19?
No,
Why haven't you filed tax returns for those
because we're
years?
fixing my 15, 16, and 17 so that the IRS is happy.
What has the filing of tax returns for the year 21, 20, and 19 got to do with the years 15, 16, and 17?
They come after it.
Yes.
I'm glad you agree.
So why haven't you filed?
Because 19 comes after 18.
I know it
20
comes after 19, but that's
19.
not a reason not to file.
That's in your opinion.
I know it's my opinion.
Okay, cool. That's a good opinion. You
Why
can have
haven't
that.
you filed?
Because we're waiting until the other ones get filed and corrected, so the IRS is happy.
What has a corrected tax return from the year 2017, 2018, 2016 got to do with 2019, 20, or 21?
I'm not looking to educate you here, but if you wanted to go and look up something like called a net operating loss or something like that, or losses, and how they carry forward or carry backwards in tax returns, you might get your answer. I'm not going to try to educate you, though.
Well, you need to educate me because you're being deposed here.
Well,
and
did
your
my
answers
best.
are direct, relevant to this case. So I have the right to ask you the questions, and you have to answer them,
I answered you.
unless your
I
attorney
answered you as best
objects.
as I could.
No, you can
I
answer
answered you
them.
as best as I could. I
So
just
you
answered
say that you have potential loss carryovers for the year 2015, 2016, 17, and 18, and for those reasons you can't file a tax return for 19, 20, and 21.
No, you're saying that.
Then what are you saying?
I said we're not submitting my tax returns beyond the year 2015 until 2015 is satisfactorily accepted by the IRS.
Why? Why aren't you doing it?
There's no reason for me to do it. I'm doing it the way I want to do it. The law says I'm allowed to. You don't get to tell me anything else.
Did you file quarterly tax returns in any given tax year?
Probably not, no.
Do you realize that under the IRS rules that you're required to file quarterly
Yes.
tax returns? Why didn't you file quarterly tax returns?
I was too busy.
Too busy. Okay, we'll look at Exhibit V3.
What exhibit was this?
This is V3, and it's PT numbers, I'm sorry, it is Bates numbers PT 040350 to PT 040354. Do you recognize this document, Mr. Valenti?
It appears to be my tax return for year 2021's profit and loss for business statement. Or individual tax return and profit and loss business statement.
Who prepared this?
I did.
On line 8 of the 2021 income tax return, it shows a loss of $70,036. Is that statement accurate?
I believe so, yes.
And why did you lose so much money in 2021?
Well, generally, the income doesn't match the expenses.
So on line 25 of Schedule C, it shows that you had utilities in the amount of $16,434. What utilities did you have?
Well, that's probably electric. Baseboard heating costs a lot of money in the winter, $1,500 a month. Other machines, electricity, and the air conditioning, 9 air conditioners running in a big old Victorian house eats it up. There could have also been in, let's see, 2016,
No.
like 2021.
2021.
Yeah, utilities, electric, water.
$16,434.
Yeah, that probably accurately depicts my Duke energy bill and or my water bill.
How big is your home? Was your home?
2,500 square feet, I think.
And it was
or
electric
something.
heating?
Yes, and we also had a furnace, but we majority used the electric for heating the house.
And it says on line 17 that you paid $29,011. To whom did you pay that?
I'm sorry, what line item was that again?
17?
Oh, there it is.
Schedule C.
That's it, sorry. Let's see, that says legal and professional services.
Yes. Who'd you pay it to?
I paid that to legal and professional services.
No, that's the category. Who did you pay it to?
I would have to go back and look.
You don't remember who you paid $29,000 to?
Well, I paid it to legal and professional services.
Who were they?
Well, the legal and professional services.
Which ones?
I would have to go back and look if I wanted to be accurate.
So
I
I
don't-
don't need
I
you to
don't
be accurate.
remember.
You can. You don't
No,
remember
I'm
who you
gonna-
paid $29,000 to.
Oh, I would imagine it was my legal and professional services companies.
They don't exist.
They don't?
Yeah, there's no. This is a line item on a tax return. It's not an identification of who they paid
Well,
to.
you certainly wouldn't. If you don't think that they exist, that's your prerogative. They're right here, though.
Well, no, it doesn't say any. I mean, that you
Legal.
could have paid this to Santa Claus. Who did you pay the money to?
Well, legal and professional services, companies that provided those services to me. The IRS asks me what that number is. I put a number in. It calculates a bunch of stuff.
How did you come up with that number?
I looked in the paperwork.
What paperwork?
Well, probably paperwork of my PayPal account. Or
I don't know.
Where
I asked you.
expenses come. Well, it's expenses, legal and services, professional, $29,000.
How is it that your company is paying for your entire personal heating bill?
Well, I don't know if that's actually true, but I would think that the document or the program that I used to create it actually has some percentage rating or something. But
So is the
it's a business.
16,000?
I run a business out of that location.
So
my business, and the majority of my house was used for Nero. One room was used for me. Actually, 2 if you wanted to count the kitchen.
So
Or 3 if
2,500.
you wanted to count the bath.
Your house is 2,500 square feet, or was 2,500 square feet? How much of that 2,500
Somewhere around
square
there, I
feet?
think. Let's look at the document here. Does it say the number of square feet?
Of that 2,500 square feet, how many of that 2,500 square feet were dedicated to your business?
I would have to look at the rest of the IRS tax return document to see what the number was.
Was it a percentage?
I would have to go and look at the document. You're expecting me to remember minutia in a sea of 40,000 documents, and I would love to give you the answer, But I don't believe that it's actually in this document right here that you've
I
provided.
don't know. I mean, this is the document you produced. I
Some
mean,
large percentage of my house was dedicated to NERA.
Okay,
yes.
estimate. What large percentage?
I don't remember.
50%?
I don't remember.
70%?
I don't remember.
So you can't tell me how much of your house you used for your business.
No, I can tell you a general number between 0 and 100%, and
That's
you're
not a
trying to
general-
lock
that's
me
not a-
down. That's a
yeah.
general number, 0 to 100%. You're getting frustrated,
No, you
not
can
me.
give an estimate if you.
I think it would be more than 50%. I said a large number already. But I know that there's a document somewhere in my IRS tax returns where it asks me.
Atul, are we going to go through this all day
estimate.
with your client?
No, he's trying to answer the questions
He
as directly.
can't give me an estimate of how much of his business, his home uses for a business?
I mean, I don't think it's something he's ever kept
60 or 70%.
kept
You can
tabs
go with
of
that
over
number.
the years, but he's giving you as direct answers as he can.
And I don't want to contradict
Really,
what I've...
Mr. Atul?
I don't want to contradict what...
Hold on. One at a time. If they're talking.
I
just let them
apologize,
talk. Okay,
Julie. I do apologize.
That's okay.
So I'll ask you again, Mr. Singh.
Well, I'm not the one being deposed. He can
Right,
answer the
but
question.
you're the one who can advise him on, what his responses or how his responses should be formulated.
Right, and you're asking me a question where the answer is clearly and plainly in my tax return document, but you don't want to go and look for it.
I'm asking
No,
for
you
an
can
estimate.
give what your
And
you
I said more than
answer is.
50%.
More than 50%. And was this number of 16,000 the total amount that you paid for heating?
I don't know.
and
I'd have to go and look
utility?
at the bills.
So you don't know whether that $16,434 was the entire amount that you paid for utilities in your house? You can't answer that.
That's correct.
Okay.
You're asking me for minutiae in a sea of information.
So, but this is this number of 70,036 minus 70,036 is a true and accurate number?
It's on my tax return. I would.
Well, you
I'm going to
haven't
say
filed it.
yes, yes,
Yes.
yes.
Okay. Let's go to Exhibit V4.
Sorry.
It's okay. This is Bates numbers PT 040339 through PT 040342. What was that set of documents? It was like 20. Do you know how many pages? Can you look at the bottom of the document? How many pages it was? Do you recognize this document?
It appears to be my 2020 tax return, along with a profit and loss statement. Oh, I'm sorry, along with, yes.
This is a draft document, correct?
Yes,
And it is correct that you have not filed it?
that is correct.
Okay. Is the number on line 8, other income, negative 40, so minus 46,634, an accurate number?
I believe so, yes, yes.
So if we could look at page 40342. So I note that on line 17, you had no legal and professional services in year 2020?
That is what is correct on the form. It says on line item 17 that I had no legal and professional services in that year.
And on line 25, you had inserted 5,703. Is that a correct number?
Yes, that looks like 925 is for utilities.
So what caused the utilities to jump from 5,703 in year 2020 to 16,434 in year 2021?
In the year 2020, I was, I believe, in the process of setting up solar panels, and I ran a generator for a period of months instead of air conditioning units and such. And then, so there wasn't a lot of electricity use while I was running a generator at the house.
Did you
For
include
8 or 9 months, I think it was.
Did you include the cost of running the generator in this utility figure?
I think that might have been under the gasoline expenses, but I'd have to go and look at my full tax return and a bunch of other documents to see where that gasoline, I might not have even included the gasoline expense because again, the IRS is iffy on things. But I'd have to go back and look. It could actually be, and some of it could be included in the $5,700.
Which documents would you go back to look and review?
Well, I have to go back and get my Duke Energy bills from the Duke Energy company. I'd have to request them from them since they probably burned in my house. And then I would get their papers and I would look through it and I'd try to figure out what, you know, and I have to go and look at my, I probably have the PayPal, I can download the PayPal Excel document and see what my gasoline expenses were and see if that matches 5,700 or see if my gas expenses for the business PayPal matched up or coupled with or added to the gasoline expenses on my personal created the 5,700. There would be a lot of different ways to go and try to figure the information out.
Okay. Mr. Singh, I'll again ask for the production of those documents which we had previously
I think we've
requested
already
and were
produced
told that they didn't exist.
Your gasoline expenses? We
I-
didn't ever request.
No,
them.
no, I'm not talking about the gasoline expenses. I'm talking about
You have
the
all my PayPal?
expenses in connection with his electric utility bills, expenses in connection with his law firm paid or certain legal and professional services paid. He also seems to say that there is a Excel spreadsheet that's available on the PayPal or downloadable from PayPal. You provided us with documents from PayPal that showed income, but it didn't show any expenses. So it doesn't show anything outgoing. So I again request those documents.
Do those exist? I mean,
Well,
would
he
that
just said
I
they
mean,
did.
No, your PayPal.
I
we
could
we
probably,
produce-
for the last year or two, get my expenses for PayPal. They have reports.
And Mr. Singh, I'll go
I
on the
don't
record
believe that
saying,
that's what-
we asked you in front of the judge, and you told me that these documents didn't exist, and here's a witness sitting here saying they do
I
exist.
produced
Not
everything
paying
that-
out. You
I
said-
produced everything you guys asked for.
I
Except for
asked
the
for
tax
everything.
records
So if you're-
and what his
and
gross
financial
revenues were.
documents.
I produced
That's
every-
what records he had in his possession
All the
at the
documents
time.
I had at my disposal. You're asking me to
His
download
PayPal
documents.
account, you produce documents, so you can't come back and say, oh, I'm only going to produce the income records from the PayPal, and we're not going to produce then the expense
He
side.
didn't have those.
Yeah, I
Well,
didn't have
he
any.
had the other ones.
We'll have to go look, but he gave you everything he had from the PayPal account.
I question that sincerely. So,
you're free
and
to
I'm
do that.
challenging
I mean-
that. Yes, I am. Okay. We'll go to V5 then. I'm sorry.
No documents. Straight answers. Straight answers.
So, Mr. Valenti, do you recognize this document?
It appears to be my 2019 tax return along with a
I'll point out
profit
that.
and loss from the business.
Okay, I'll point out this is document Bates numbers PT 040329 to PT 0403, I think it's 32. So this, you produced this document in connection with this litigation, and those numbers that I just recited designated the document. So is this a document that you created?
Yes.
Okay. Would you look at line 7A? Is it accurate, that number of minus $51,160, a accurate and correct
Yes.
number? Mr. Valenti, what is your income from your employer?
$123,000 and change
Okay.
per year.
Okay, so we'll go to the profit and loss statement, Schedule C, on so you paid and took a deduction on line 11 for contract labor. What kind of contract labor was it?
Probably people who did work for me.
What people?
I'd have to go back and think more about it, but it could have been the roofer, could have been the water guy, could have been the furnace guy, could have been the lawnmower guy, could have been anyone who worked for me and
But-
did miscellaneous for Nero. I would have to go back and look in 2019.
So $10,000. I mean, Mr. Valenti, that's not chump change. I mean, I don't remember how much I paid for dinner last night. It was probably $100 or something. But $10,000? You
Well,
don't
if you
remember
paid-
who did what that was for?
Well, if you paid, well, there's a few things here. If you paid $100 for dinner last night and you went to dinner for 100 days, you'd spend $10,000 on dinner. Again, it's just a drop in the bucket, right? But if you're talking about an IRS tax return and it says contractor pay and your contractor pay is $10,000, you actually have to add up the 4 or 5 different people that did work for you during that year, 2019. And then you got to figure out, after you add it up, what the total amount is and then put the total in.
Okay.
So it's not necessary that I gave one person $10,000. It's that contract labor for miscellaneous things that aren't considered an employee would go into that field. So in 2019, I don't know. I have to go back and figure it out.
You can't
That's
name one person who you paid under his contract labor
in 2019.
on this
No,
tax?
I don't
No.
remember.
Do you remember who you paid the $15,040 to in legal and professional services?
It was probably one of or multiple of my legal and professional services companies.
Which legal companies do you have?
Well, I had let's see, in 2019, I had a gentleman named Philip Horton, and I had another company, EGS, which is representing me here. And I may have had other expenses for other legal and professional services, but I'd have to go look that up.
So you can remember that you paid Mr. Horton in 2019, but you can't remember who you paid last year on your 2021 tax return?
Well, I'd have to go look that up. You're asking me some definitive questions here.
Yes.
So in 2019, I speculated and told you that it was probably the legal and professional companies that I had in 2019. Whatever
And-
professional companies are professional, when I was looking at my documents that I determined was a legal or professional company, I added into that field. And I don't have that in front of me, so how am I going to answer it definitively? I can't.
So, Mr. Valenti, on line 31 of your profit and loss statement, it says $54,119. On your line 7A, it only lists $51,160. Why is there a difference?
I can go back and ask the company that runs the software that created the document for me after I plugged in a bunch of numbers. Other than that, I would have to read what the fields mean, right? I don't know what the fields mean. I just know that this is a document that was created by a software program where I plugged in a bunch of numbers.
So, did you understand what kind of numbers you were plugging in?
Of course.
And are they truthful numbers?
Of course.
But you can't explain why there's a difference, then you know what you're plugging in and you know where to plug it in, but you can't explain the difference between line 31 on your Schedule C and line 7A on the tax return?
Okay, so I'll try to lay it out as best I can for you, sir, so that you can understand what tax returns say here. So, you're asking me why there's a difference between those two numbers, one being 51,160 and the other one being 54,119. Well, if you actually looked at the fields that are being talked about on those line items, you'll see that a Schedule 1 is where the number, Schedule 1 on Article 9, Schedule 1, Article 9 is where the 51,160 number comes from. And you'll see right above that there's an 8 for other income, which specifies $2,959 is other income. And then you'll see above it in that same Schedule 1 on Article number 3, it says 54,119. So you have all those numbers readily available. You want Schedule 1 right there in the documents that you produced, 40331. And so if you look at the numbers and you subtract 54,119 or from 2,959, you'll get a negative 51,160. Those are how the numbers are different, sir.
So you do understand how tax returns are filled out?
Well, no, I just had to read the document in order to understand it. You understand
And you
it.
put the numbers in?
You understand it now, too.
So we're going to go to V6. Document number, or exhibit number V6 is designated as PT 040150, and it goes to 0153, so PT 040153. So I note, well, Mr. Valenti, do you recognize this document?
It appears to be my tax return from the year 2018.
And what part of your tax return from 2018?
It has a profit or loss from business statement, as well as Schedule C table, which has two parts.
Did you prepare a Schedule C table for the years 2019, 2020, and 2021?
I'm unsure. I'd have to go back and look.
I'll ask for those tables, Mr. Singh.
Well, if they're not given to you already, then no, I did not create the tables.
What software did you use to create these
A
documents?
software program called TaxHawk.
TaxHawk. And you use that yourself?
Yes.
So where do the records from TaxHawk reside?
In a burnt building.
And all those tax records have been destroyed?
Yes.
Is it a computer program?
Yes.
TaxHawk?
Yes.
Is it an online computer?
Yes.
Did you use the online service?
Yes.
Are records stored on that online service?
I'm unsure. There have been times when my records were not there when I logged back in. So I can't answer your question and say yes, which is what I would love for the answer to be. However, I already lost plenty of my tax returns from previous years on taxhawk.com, and I don't know why. I just imagine I switched computers.
Have you checked, in the context of this litigation, whether those documents are on taxhawk.com?
Yes.
And you verified that there are no documents other than those you produced already in this litigation on taxhawk.com. There are no further documents on taxhawk.com.
I have provided to you every document that I possibly have regarding my taxes. Yes.
Okay. So I'm looking at this Schedule C, and I note that you paid $4,000 in legal and professional services. Is that correct?
That's what it says there on my tax return. Yes, on my tax return.
And do you remember who you paid it to?
2018. Not exactly, but I would imagine some of it went to Philip Horton, who was representing me against your clients in the USPTO TTAB case. TTAB, TTAB.
On line 27A, you put down 34,800. Is that number accurate?
Yes.
Okay. $34,800. What was that for?
A variety of video cards, 5 or 6 motherboards, I guess, I don't know, 10 or 20 video cards, probably 1 or 2 full-on computers, half a dozen or a dozen Bitcoin mining machines, and other various computer servers.
Mr. Valenti, I believe I asked you earlier today if you ever used your house for Bitcoin mining, and you said no.
No, you did not ask me that.
Do you operate a Bitcoin mining operation?
No.
So why did you need Bitcoin machines?
Well, Bitcoin mining machines mine Bitcoin.
Could you read that answer back about the Bitcoin, please?
Answer, Bitcoin mining machines mine Bitcoin.
No, and the one before it about the Bitcoin, please?
Do you operate a Bitcoin mining operation? No. Questions?
Okay, and then before that, he mentioned the word Bitcoin, I believe.
Question, okay, 34,800, what was that for? Answer, a variety of video cards, 5 or 6 motherboards, I guess. I don't know, 10 or 20 video cards, probably 1 or 2 full-on computers, half a dozen or a dozen Bitcoin mining machines, and other various computer servers.
Okay, nope, thank you.
It could have been more than 1 or 2 full-on computers.
But you said in your response, it was just read back to you, that you had purchased Bitcoin mining machines. And then I said, what do you use Bitcoin mining machines for? And you said mining Bitcoins. And then I said, do you operate a Bitcoin mining machine or a mining operation? You said no. So what did you use Bitcoin mining machines for if you weren't operating a Bitcoin mining operation?
Bitcoin mining machines mine Bitcoin.
But you said you weren't doing that.
Are you asking me a question?
You said, did you not, that you don't do Bitcoin mining?
That's correct. I don't do Bitcoin mining.
But you have Bitcoin mining machines that do Bitcoin mining.
No, I don't.
What did you buy them for? Did you use them? Answer the question. Well, explain that.
I mean, he's asking me if I run a Bitcoin mining operation right now, and I don't.
Oh, right now. So did you ever run one in the past?
I would say yes.
So you spent $34,800, which included bit mining machines. And how many of those bit mining machines did you have?
Oh, dozens.
I don't know. Why are you laughing?
Because I don't have an accurate number for you. I'm not laughing. I'm actually smiling because it makes me feel happy to know that I had dozens of Bitcoin mining machines.
And how did you fund the purchase of those Bitcoin mining machines?
Well, I make $120,000 a year, so I funded it through the money I make. I funded it through other income that I make. I don't know. That's generally how it works.
But you took that not against your personal income, but against your Nero International Holding Company, Inc., correct?
I'd have to go back and look and see about this. But
Well, you wrote it right here.
I believe that that's correct.
So how did...
That's correct.
So is it then accurate that you received gross receipts of $90,000 in that year?
That is correct. $90,000 into my Nero PayPal account.
What is the other income of $4,672 on line 6?
Well, I would probably have to go back and look or think about it more, but it could have been 2018 was, I don't know if I was traveling then. I don't believe I was. It could have been a refund. Let me see, actually. It could have been cryptocurrencies. It could have been a refund I got from traveling for one of the companies I work for as a contractor. Other than that, I don't know. I don't really recall, but it's something. It's other income.
In whose business name was this profit and loss filed, according to this document?
Nero International Holding Co. Inc.
And what was the employer ID number there?
223616056.
I'm sorry, 22361.
6056.
Moving on to Exhibit V7, please. Mr. Valenti, do you recognize this document?
Yes, it appears to be my 2017 profit and loss from business.
And is this one of the reports that's being audited?
I believe so, yes, or was audited, yes.
Was audited or is being audited?
It's in the process. It's both. Was audited and is going to be audited again.
So when was the first time it was audited?
Last year, the year before. I forgot what year it was.
Was that audit concluded?
I believe so, yes.
So if that audit was concluded, why didn't you file your 2019 and 2020 tax returns?
Well, that was the IRS's audit, and that wasn't my reproduction of my 2017 tax returns with things corrected so that they could be happy.
No, that wasn't my question, Mr. Valenti. My question was, why didn't you file your tax returns for 2019, 2020 if the audit had been concluded?
There's no requirement for me to do that.
You don't have a requirement to file a tax return?
No. No, not at all.
You don't have to file a federal tax return if you...
I have a requirement to file a federal tax return. I am not required to file a tax return on anyone's time but my own. And the That's what the IRS says. File the tax return when you get your shit sorted out, you get your stuff sorted out, and then you file your tax returns. The IRS isn't knocking on my door, beating my head in with a baseball bat, trying to get me to file a tax return. They're like, take your time, Mr. Valenti, file your tax returns, get it all sorted out, have a wonderful day, we love you. And I'm like, I love you guys too.
So on this document 2017, and that, did I give you the numbers? That's PT 040132 and PT 04133. In whose name was this filed?
Name of proprietor, Joseph A. Valenti.
And what was the business name?
Nero Live Adventure Games, LLC.
And what was the employer ID number?
274-604-274.
Whose tax ID number is that?
That's Nero Live Adventure Games, LLC.
So that's not the same number as Nero International Holding Company, Inc. that you just read into the record from 2018, correct?
That is correct.
So you had obtained a separate tax ID number for Nero Live Adventure Games, LLC at some point?
Yes, that's correct.
And you are operating Nero Live Adventure Games, LLC as a separate entity?
Yes, that's correct.
And is, you spent, I see on line 17, $16,000 on legal and professional services. Any idea who that was in 2017?
Well, you know, a whole bunch of legal and professional companies, no doubt. I'm sure since it was the year 2017. And I believe I was starting a U.S. TTAB proceeding against your clients, and Philip Horton would be one of the attorneys whom I've paid for legal and professional services. I'm unsure of the amount because I don't have that in my head. And then there would be other companies for legal and professional services.
I notice on line 30, it says total square footage of your home,
Oh, there we go.
2,400. And I noticed that it also says, and the part of your home used for business was 300. That doesn't seem to be over 50% of your home. What changed between 2017 and currently that you're using over half of it?
$50,000 in assets, all of my possessions and belongings from the state of New York into North Carolina.
So what 300 square feet were you using in 2017?
It was probably one room inside the house, around 16 by 16, 15 and a half by 16. Maybe one other room, like a half a room. And then there's all of my other assets were probably in one of the 2 barns that burned down, or the other 2 prefab build. Actually, there was only one prefab building in 2017. So
Does that building still exist?
yes, that one prefab does in fact still exist.
Okay, and so when you bought the servers, the Bitcoin mining machines, did you need to put them in another spot in the building?
Yeah, yes, they went inside the house and ran off the electric in the house.
Right. Did they need to be in a different spot, or did you use the same 300 square feet to?
They were in a different spot,
How big was that spot?
roughly 300 square feet.
So 2 square feet, 2 places with roughly 300 square feet.
Well, no. You're thinking that the year 2017 is the same as the year 2018. So you're wrong.
No, I didn't say that at
You're
all.
wrong. So the answer is no.
So how much room did you need for the Bitcoin mining machines?
Well, I answered that question already.
No,
to
you didn't. How much room did you need?
I think around 300 square feet.
300 square feet.
Yeah.
Yeah. Could you go off the record a second? Aye. We're off the record a second, yeah.
Okay, time's 12:21, we're off the record.
I just want to see who